All right, so June 8th, a lot of different things happening. The first thing I'm going to talk about is a lot of features from a Copilot side of things happening inside PowerPoint. And there literally were 8, 9 different ones focused on it. And each one was for a different platform. So different way that they're showcasing this. So what I ended up doing is, as you notice, the top one is the actual, this is what's happening, visualize this slide skill. Then those are the different MC posts for web, Windows, and Mac. So they're all 3 different posts. So just so you guys see, but ultimately visualize this slide is just another feature inside Copilot that allows you to be able to take those slides and then create layouts, both in Anthropic as well as OpenAI, GPT 5.5. And that's the case for every single one of these. Another skill that's coming into PowerPoint is prepare for questions, which is kind of interesting because if I'm going to do this presentation, I want to make sure that if I take a look at the deck, what questions are people going to potentially ask me? So it's a great way to prep before you are presenting that content. And then review this. What other reviews, what other suggestions would it make for content, right? So it's content or image or whatever that happens to be. So again, all of that's powered by Anthropic and GPT. And by the way, it's out. They're already available. So look for that inside your PowerPoint, Copilot embedded inside PowerPoint. And that could be web for majority of you. And unless you got the recent updates, then it would be on your desktop as well. So check web first. If it's not if it's there, then great. Otherwise, yeah, I would agree, Sherry. I think especially for people who live in and breathe inside PowerPoint, absolutely. All right, so we'll come back to some more Copilot things, but I wanted to get that one out of the way because it was kind of odd, just the way they posted all those. SharePoint. There's a new entry point for when I want to use Copilot to be able to create pages. This, for some reason, it was paused, the rollout. I think they're working, but I just want to let you know that this is coming because it's just another way that end users are going to be able to go out there and make a change or actually create pages using AI. There is going to be, there is in that template area within that SharePoint site to be able to actually use the templates. You're going to see a prompt box. That prompt box is going to allow you to be able to create it from there. So that's the new place. Plus, by the way, you can also throw in grounding files and get it up there so that it uses that to create that content as necessary. It will create it in draft, and then you can refine that in the page editor as you've seen in the past. And by the way, this is going to be enabled by default. All right. Power BI, which is one of the things that, I mean, I'm out talking to customers about Copilot all the time. And the one thing that keeps on coming up is Power BI and Copilot. When can I take, Copilot and point it to a report or that backend data and pull that in? That's coming soon, right here. We got Frontier for those preview, right? That's that Frontier capability. Already starting to happen right now. So go ahead and take a look for that. Answering questions about your reports or even the semantic models that are behind those reports. So it will respect permissions on those reports. So you just can't point to any report, and if you don't have permissions, forget it. It is going to be able by default. Just understand that when it actually queries that if you have Fabric behind the scene, that it does share that information with Fabric to complete that process. So Fabric will take it and then bring it back into Copilot. So just understand that's happening behind the scenes. Again, if you're in Frontier, this is available for you now. They did not give any indication as far as when the next, when it's going to actually be GA'd, but keep it in mind. And if you do have Frontier, test that out. All right, on the Teams events side, this is one of those things I know that I've actually had to do a lot of events internally here at Microsoft. And if there is ever a room, that's kind of a problem. I never could tell inside that event when I was setting it up if that room was available or not, right? So you'd have to go out, research it, then book it or not, right? Depending upon the situation. So here, targeted early to late June and in worldwide, June to mid-July, you're going to actually be able to, as that organizer, see the room and if it is available during that time that you have that event set up, right? Again, no need to be able to go to another system, be able to do that and bring it, and you'll be able to identify it prior to booking. So it's not like one of those where you have to go and book it and then go back and look later on. So excellent capability there. So make sure this is coming out. Make sure you let your users know and train them, let them know what's going on that side of things. Again, on the Teams room side, another big deal. And when I'm talking about webinars or structured meetings specifically, and this, by the way, yeah, I know the changing the name of the meetings app as well. That's the other thing too, or the Meet app, I should say. Yeah, it's that whole Meet app versus I forget what I mean Events app. There's a lot going on there, and I don't know if they even have that all figured out yet, Pete. So we'll see. This particular one that's happening here, mid-June to late June, is focused on just Teams Room from Android, and I know there's a lot of those out in the wild, so to speak. So this is a big one specifically for webinars and structured meetings, so that when I'm in a room and I'm set up as the presenter, that room is set up as a presenter. A lot of times what you want to see is you want to see what the attendees see. Just makes it a lot easier so that as a presenter, I can see everything that way. And so this is by default the way it's going to happen now, especially for Android. This is already done for Windows, but just we're catching up on the Android side. But that front of room experience is important, that it will go to that attendee view by default. So again, especially for those that are, corporate communications that are doing webinars or those large structured meeting type scenarios, this is an important thing to make sure that they know what's going on. And another thing, this is part of the things I actually really like about PowerPoint Live, is there is going to be getting and in fact, I have that internally here, and I've been using it a lot, a refresh. So what happens a lot, especially if you have a meeting, you're doing a presentation, and people are still working on the content, you'd have to literally stop sharing and reshare. That's not the case anymore. With that refresh button, you click on it, it will automatically refresh the content inside there, and you can move to that new content. So huge one. Again, starting here, already started coming out. It should be out here, done, finished soon here in June. That's available for organizers and presenters. And another Teams thing, this is more on the recap. So we're talking about those with Teams Premium license or Copilot license. The organizer has the ability to delete meeting generated content. So that's AI meeting generated content, recordings, transcripts, and AI summaries and notes. Again, if AI touched it, then you have that ability to be able to delete it. Excuse me. The only thing that will not be deleted is the shared files in there. So if I did PowerPoint Live, if I uploaded a file inside the chat, those types of things, it won't delete those pieces. Yeah, Sherry, that never happens all the time, in fact, unfortunately. And I see a lot of the pre-naming stuff before it gets out, and it's even worse. So keep that in mind. This is for the organizers that set up these meetings. They will be able to do that. Again, maybe it's because they didn't necessarily need that content to be retained after the fact, but you needed it during the meeting as an option. Maybe it's manual scenario. All right. Again, on Teams, we have a lot of Teams pieces. This is huge. I'm working on this right now. You may see some of that happening here, targeted early to late July, with worldwide starting early to late August. And this is the restructuring of the share tray, the whole 9 yards. One of the things that I keep on hearing, and you probably experience this, is this, hey, why don't everybody give a thumbs up and you go in and raise your hand? That happens so often. You can do a reaction here if this has happened to you. Exactly. Guess what? We're changing all that. So we have this new meeting controls. The bar is going to be in the middle of the centered. You're going to be able to do things like you can actually move your controls yourself, and you can pin them to a spot. If you go into the React area, the raise hand is completely separated, so you cannot accidentally do things. The reason why they moved everything to the center is so that you don't accidentally click on the leave button when you're trying to do something else. All right, so all of those types of things, you'll see things like Copilot is separated out. Controls for your Teams meetings is going to be in there. And if I have to go into recording or interpreter or some of those things, it's on the more button. So it's a much better experience. It will take some getting used to it. This is a good opportunity for everybody to make sure that they get out there and prep your users before it comes out, because it's a big change. It's a huge change, especially in Teams and Teams meetings. So keep that in mind. That is coming out here worldwide August, and GCC, GCH in September, late October, and DoD October to November. So huge one. Please make sure you're ready for that. All right. Becky, that's a good question. I will go look at the Message Center post to see if they have anything. I don't remember if they actually put anything out there on the team side, but let me see if I can find something, or if somebody else that's quicker can find it. Please post it, please. All right. On the Copilot side, turn your pages, and this is a Copilot page, into a SharePoint news post. So if you're familiar with Copilot pages, this is the ability to be able to take the output of a chat that you've had, a conversation you had with Copilot, into something, and it's ultimately called a Copilot page, that then you can share, you can do other things along with it. Now, one of those things you can do is you can create a SharePoint news post based off of that content. Right, so very important. You would normally you could do Word, you can do a PowerPoint, you can do other things, but now adding SharePoint page to that, you go and then pick the SharePoint site you want to, and it will actually create the page, and then you can continue editing in that SharePoint site. By the way, you do have to have permissions to be able to create that page in general on that SharePoint site, but it is available for you to go there. Copilot, again, we're continuing on this. Suggest edits in Copilot in your Copilot pages. Again, second page update that's happening. And this is kind of nice, especially when you're in an iterative process with yourself or with a team member, and it will start bringing up suggestions for you on that page to be able to make updates. This is in Frontier now, and then later on this month, it will be going into worldwide. So keep in mind with those updates. All right, so on the Viva side, right, that Copilot dashboard side of things, you're just going to start seeing some intelligence summaries that are going to be brought up to your attention automatically, right? So focused on adoption and usage insights overall. Plus, it will also give you some prompts that you can use to be able to then get more deeper into that. So it will make some suggestions based off of things that it's seeing in your overall adoption. So again, a good thing happening and making suggestions for you to be able to dive in deeper. Also, huge, and thanks, Pete, for finding that. Oh, okay. Don't see the end user announcement. Yeah, I would agree. I think it's going to come out here fairly soon, so just keep an eye on that, and that will help with that. Because again, remember that team change is not happening until August, so usually takes, they wait probably about a month-ish beforehand, so keep that in mind. All right, Planner Agent. This is a huge one, starting in mid-June to late June. This is that, hey, used to be called Project Management Agent, now flipping over to Planner Agent, and we did have Pat Peterson was talking about project in general and some of this stuff ahead of time, so keep that in mind. Planner Agent, you do need to have the Microsoft 365 Copilot license for users. You don't necessarily need the Planner Premium. You could use the standard license there, but you're going to get more features on the Planner side that then that agent's going to tap into, but just keep that in mind. You can create, update, and manage tasks from this planner agent. You can actually create your entire plan based off of documentation, point to a document and then create the plan from there. You'll get some interactive task cards associated to that. So as things are progressing, send that out to somebody, those types of things to be able to update their information and improve insights on priorities, your deadlines, and even at work initiative or parts. So a lot happening with this. So that planner agent is coming out here now. All right, some quick mentions, some things that I want to make sure that you guys are understanding. The first one is the retention enforcement. And this is a big one. This is a major change for OneDrive, by the way. So what's happening here worldwide in July is if you have unlicensed OneDrive accounts, then what's going to happen, it's going to go into read-only at 60 days. And I'm not sure exactly if it's 60 days after this enforcement or 60 day when it was last licensed. I think it's going to be from last license. So at 60 days, it's going to go into read-only. Then it's going to go archived in 93 days. And then finally, permanent deletion at 12 months of non-payment, right? So again, if it's not licensed, which means if you want to hang on to it, then you get it licensed again or get that content out of there, right? So that's that whole day about retention, right? Making sure that's the case. Coming in teams, mid-May to late June, the ability to be able to test your audio and video before you even jump in. And we'll actually record it and then play back before you jump into a meeting. We're also getting Copilot controls for Outlook on Windows Classic version, not the new version. So keep that one in mind. This is for Classic for those who are still doing it, which I know a lot of you guys are still using Classic just because it has all the features that you're looking for. Got an update to Teams Town Hall chat. Up to 500 characters are coming here soon. Also, this is huge for organizations that are utilizing breakout rooms. And this is specifically, especially when you have a larger meeting, right? Anything over 300, which was our hard limit before, it's going to get up to 1,000 attendees, and you can do up to 200 breakout rooms per meeting, right? So just expanding that capability, and that's coming late July. Ability to be able to use custom skills. So being able to give a lot more capabilities, especially on the SharePoint side, to be able to talk about your business process and get that built in. So it's very intelligent as far as your SharePoint site on how you do a business process and what the expectations and the outcomes are. That's that SharePoint skill, that custom skill. Also, those who are doing events. This one I've been ever since I've known Teams and events and meetings, people have been asking for this. So this is 5, 6, 7 years now. Shared and delegate mailbox scheduling for events, right? So if I'm a delegate for somebody, I would be able to actually manage that event on that person's behalf and schedule and set them up on that, but it's going to come from that leader. And that's what a lot of times people want to have when it comes to those types of events. And those who are SharePoint heavy organizations, and you have people that are creating content all the time, there's going to be refresh to the toolbox when you're actually editing that page. So that's coming here late May to late June. So it's happening right now. Go out. I'm pretty sure there's some information out there on the Message Center post and out there about those changes. It's just going to make it easier to find all those different pieces to it, just to reorg as far as how they're doing that. And then I wanted to call out, there were 3 new June 30th admin actions that were added. Copilot Studio. So we're talking about this ability to be able to create an agent, Copilot Studio agent from Teams, right? That is going away June 30th. Do everything from the web, don't do it from Teams. The other one is that if you have Teams rooms out there, there's a major change happening with this PowerPoint Live functionality we're talking about. Make sure that they get updated to the latest and greatest. Now, here's the thing. Windows is happening here now. Android is happening mid-June to mid-July, right? So there's a little bit of discrepancy as far as dates, but just keep that in mind. And then, of course, we talked about this one. Teams live event is retiring at the end of this month. So make sure that you've moved over to Teams Town Hall or webinar as your two options. Otherwise, everything else is exactly the same as it's been. We have some things happening here in July. You need to make sure that you're ready for. And July 14th is the date that seems to be sticking on some of those things, as well as some things in August. And of course, InfoPath and InfoPath services. Guess what? July 14th, everybody, it is going to be done. We're not going to ever have to say InfoPath ever again.
Yay.
I know. All right. Well, I think that's all no, I got one more slide. Don't forget Community Hub, go find those blogs. I think we point to those in much time, and then don't worry. Or also make sure you're following the roadmap on those high attention features that you're looking for. So with that, I think I'm going to turn it back to Michelle, and then it's going to be Laura. It's going to be up after that.